Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Pub Crawlers. I'm Matthew.
I'm Kevin. We have Frank back.
We got him. Sir,
Good to be back.
welcome back.
Frank, good to see you, my friend.
Oh Lord,
always.
so what are these two brown, delicious looking bottles in front of me?
I've got Old Milford Bourbon
Okay.
from J.W. Kelly, and I have two of them. I have their flagship brand, and then I have their single barrel
Okay.
version of the product.
Can we just dive right into drinking them? Because I'm really excited.
You're supposed to learn something first.
All right, well, teach us, please. Okay.
All right, so first of all, where does bourbon have to be made?
In a barrel.
No, what it does have to go into a barrel, yes, but
Wow.
is there a particular geographic location does it have
Yeah,
to be
typically in Tennessee, correct?
made? No.
Or Kentucky, mid.
Most
Kentucky.
people think it's Kentucky.
Okay.
And about 98% do come from Kentucky.
Kentucky. Why is it
But
Tennessee?
this one comes from Tennessee. Yeah. So
Three times in a row, nailed it.
So this is a Tennessee straight bourbon whiskey.
Okay.
So bourbon is a classification of whiskey. Whiskey is a broad general term that means anything distilled from grain and aged in a wooden cask of some kind. That's whiskey.
You got all that?
I'll say it again.
Got it.
Made from grain, distilled from grain,
Still from grain.
and then aged in a wooden cask of some kind.
Okay.
And then you have your classifications. You've got Irish whiskey, Scotch whiskey, Canadian whiskey, American whiskey, Tennessee whiskey, which would be like Jack Daniels and Dickel. And then you have bourbon, which is its own set of laws, and it's got to be made in the United States. Most people think it's got to be made in Kentucky, but it's got to be made anywhere in the United States. And here's one from Tennessee, and there aren't many bourbons that come out of Tennessee.
So what makes a bourbon different from just being a regular whiskey?
Yeah, great question. Bourbon is a whiskey, but all whiskeys are not bourbon.
Right.
You have about 6 laws, and the first one is it's got to be made in the United States. Second one is has to be made predominantly with corn, 51% corn. This one's got 75% corn. Both of them have 75% corn. And the other two,
So that would be why a lot of times when you drink a bourbon, you get a sweeter flavor to it.
right on the tip.
It's from the corn.
That's from the
Okay.
corn. That's the workhorse grain.
Very cool.
You always have,
It's not time yet.
you
can
always
hear 'em.
have malted barley in it also, because that's what we call the enzymatic grain. It provides the amylase, which gets everything going, the fermentation process. And then you have a third grain. Typically it's rye. Some distillers are now taking the rye out and adding wheat into it.
Really?
And it gives a different flavor. This is a rye. This is 75% corn. It's only got 5% malted barley, and it's got 20% rye. So this is what we call the high rye bourbon. Most of the time it's about 75, 12.5. This is 75, 5, 20% rye. Rye puts a whole different flavor in the bourbon. Rye picks up on the back of the tongue and the center of the tongue. It picks up spiciness, or I don't want to say bitterness, but it gives a different type of flavor. That's why so many drinks like the Manhattan and the Sazerac is made
Good
with
drinks.
a rye whiskey, because those have sweeteners in them. So you need to
Right.
balance the sweetness with the spiciness of the whiskey. So when you taste this will be, you'll get some flavors on the back of the tongue. A couple other rules are that corn made in the United States, it's got to go in the barrel at no more than 125 proof. Nothing can be added to it once it comes off the still. So when it comes off the still, it's crystal clear, and then it goes into, if we're making a straight bourbon whiskey, it's got to go into a new charred American white oak barrel. New charred American white oak barrel. It's the only whiskey that says has to be in a new barrel. Most are done in a used barrel. And we've talked about that in some other
Yep,
segments
yep.
about
Right.
the new barrel. So it's got to go in a new barrel. So all of this color comes from the barrel. If you're drinking an Irish whiskey or Canadian whiskey or just regular American whiskey, there could be some
Color added to it.
color
color
added
added
to
to it. Well, this is just coming from, the color is coming
That's the
straight
real
from.
deal.
This is it.
Okay.
I think I just learned more in the past 3 minutes than I ever have about whiskey in my entire life. There's so much information that you just poured onto us. So, only thing we do now is let's just drink it.
Let's go ahead and give it the first one a taste. We want to do this is a single barrel. Let's try the first one.
So this is their flagship, correct?
Their flagship brand. So this is so when they make a bourbon, what they'll do is they'll take,
You always read bottles.
I am.
one of the aging requirements. To be called bourbon, it's got to be aged a minimum of 2 years
Okay.
in that new charred white oak barrel. And it's always the youngest spirit.
You didn't let
Yeah.
any of that new mustache fall in my glass, did you?
Did.
So this one does not have an age statement, but if it has an age statement, that's the youngest spirit in the bottle.
Okay.
Okay.
According to their website from J.W. Kelly about Old Milford, they say it's a blend of 5- and 6-year-old whiskeys. But they don't have an age statement. We know for a fact that it's at least 4 because this is what's called a straight bourbon whiskey, and one of the laws on straight bourbon whiskey is that it has to be at least 4 years. If it's not, it has to have an age statement on it.
Okay.
So this does not have an age statement on it, so we know it's at least 4 years. So look at the color of it. How would you describe that color?
It's like a golden caramel, if that makes any
Caramel,
sense
yeah.
at all.
Amber, yeah,
absolutely.
reddish, brownish hue.
We have lights on us right now, but if you take it out of the light, it almost would look red.
And that's coming straight from the barrel. That's where it's getting it. Because when it comes off the still, it looks like vodka. It's crystal clear. I mean, it's
all from the wood itself.
it's all
just
from the charring in the
so
barrel.
cool.
What they do is they take the barrel and they put like a big torch in it, and they burn the inside
Right.
of the barrel, which caramelizes the sugars of the wood. And that whiskey goes in and out of that barrel over 4 or 5 years as temperature changes. Because in Tennessee and Kentucky, they have 4 true seasons.
Correct.
We have 1 season, maybe 2. We got summer and a week of winter.
We got hot and not so hot.
That's it. Great way to say it.
It's also true.
But in that part of the country, they have 4 true seasons. So as the temperature changes, as the temperature warms up, the whiskey expands and it goes in the barrel. And then it comes
It'll
back
soak
out.
and come-
It comes out.
That's so neat, to
Yep.
think about that process and then how that actually makes alcohol.
Yep.
Such a beautiful thing.
Makes whiskey.
And also too, look at the legs on this. I mean,
Now we're up. This is big boy bourbon. We're at 94 proof.
oh wow.
That's good.
And that's the current trend. The current trend in the industry is going with high proof whiskeys. And the reason why is because, remember I said it has to go in the barrel at no more than 125 proof, or 62.5% alcohol. When it comes out of the barrel, it's going to be around 125, somewhere around there. And they have to cut it with water to bring it down to proof. So if you're buying a bourbon that's at 80 proof or 40% alcohol, it's been watered down from 125
To wherever it is at that
to where
point.
it is now. So every time you water something down, think about when you make a roux at the house.
Well, I was just about to say, I kind of cheated and tasted this already.
What?
Well, I'm sorry.
Yep.
You didn't nudge me or something?
No, it smelled so good, I had to get a taste.
You
But
don't,
I-
have,
Give it a-
you don't have chocolate in your pocket, do you?
I do not have chocolates,
Okay,
but I
good.
can see that. I can see that, Thanksgiving's coming up. Waking up early that morning, getting all your meal together, meal prep.
Give it a nose. and
Get your cup of coffee down, and you can sip on one of these bad boys.
Tell me what you smell.
That's what I'm feeling. What do I smell? Smells hot.
Smell some of that. I get some of that wood. I get some of that
I
vanilla.
was about to say, I get a lot of the wood. That's the first thing that
Yep.
hits my nose. Also, I have this mustache blocking
Yeah.
my nose, but
Go ahead and give it a taste. And I want you to concentrate where it's going to hit you on your tongue. It should hit you 2 places. It should hit you on the tip of the tongue, which would be the corn, and then it should hit you on the back of the tongue, which is the rye. That's good whiskey there.
It is good.
super, super smooth.
To sit here and sip
Ooh,
something room temperature, no ice.
absolutely.
Yep. And that's how we always evaluate whiskeys or rums or any distillate is you want to do it at
really
room
good.
temperature so that you can Because if you want to hide something, chill it down.
Well, now I'm really excited to try this one.
Okay.
So tell you what. Oh my God, I want to take one more sip. But
Now this is made from a blend of barrels, so many barrels.
Give me that.
oh, that's good.
A typical warehouse, a typical aging
Fine.
warehouse, it'll have maybe 9 stories.
Okay.
And the whiskeys all age at different temperatures. And every barrel tastes different.
Okay.
I've always said that a barrel of whiskey is a living product because when it goes in, it's a certain way, and then as it stays in there, it changes. And the barrel will take things from it and give things to it.
Smell that.
So this is what's called a single barrel, which means one single barrel. A barrel's 53
It stays
gallons.
in there for the lifetime of this liquid.
Well,
itself.
actually, in this, most of the time, yes, but this one
I have
says,
OCD. I have to have the labels right.
this one says it's double oaked.
Okay.
And when they mean double oaked, what they do is they take the whiskey out of the barrel and then they put it in another barrel. So whenever you take a barrel, you take it out of one barrel and put it into another one. If you go into a new barrel, it's going to impart lots of flavor quickly.
Because it's a fresh barrel. They
It's
have
a
all
fresh
the
barrel.
right.
And the current trend is they're going with different types of barrels: port barrels, sherry barrels, Amarone barrels. These guys make one that is aged in an Amarone barrel that I am dying to try. An Amarone is an Italian wine.
Okay. Very cool.
So give this now this comes in at a full 112 proof.
Oh wow.
All right, so 62.5% alcohol. This is a single barrel. So if you're the whiskey maker and you're going to put a single barrel, it's going to be your best barrel
Right.
out there.
I want to say I smell less spirit, but it's not actually a smell. It's a feel. When I breathe it in, it's kind of like when I said like
about to
hot,
say.
like fire earlier. This one's a lot more mellow feeling when I breathe it in,
I absolutely agree.
and more
That's-
sweetness to it.
Yeah, I do get the sweetness.
I'm dying to try this.
Give it a taste.
Oh. Okay. This one's delicious. Don't get me wrong. But this one is night and day from their flagship. It's just a different blend. You know, this one's very, very smooth. It's very subtle. You have a little bit of spice, but it's not overbearing. This one, on the other hand,
You wasn't listening.
huh?
It's not a blend.
It's a single
I
barrel.
said blend?
Yeah.
I didn't mean that.
It's a single barrel.
Sorry. This one, on the other hand,
A single barrel.
single barrel.
Really good.
But it's
Is
double oaked. And it's
double
double oaked,
oaked.
and that's a big part of it too. And again, the single barrel, the whiskey maker has chosen its best barrel. And they even give you the barrel number on it. It says somewhere down here, it gives the barrel number on it.
Just try it.
I could tell it was going to be good when you smelled it,
Oh,
just by
so
your
good.
reaction.
How would you drink this?
I might throw an ice cube in the middle of it, and that's about it.
I'm gonna drink it just like this, neat,
Yeah.
just like this.
Ice cube in it,
Ooh.
open it up,
Doesn't even need
chill
that.
it down a little bit.
That's
Now
it.
remember, this is 112 proof, but
Just drink it neat. Give me a
That-
cigar.
the 112 proof, but you don't feel it. The alcohol is hidden.
Right.
The alcohol is hidden well behind it.
I like it.
Super
Yeah.
cool. Well, Mr. Frank, any last notes you wanna say? Because I'm dying to drink the rest of this because it's so good.
Absolutely. Cheers, guys.
That's it. All right.
All
Very
right.
cool. Well, as always, look, please go out and check out these two different bourbons. Equally delicious. We're pub crawlers. Subscribe. Wait. Subscribe. Next video.
Keep crawling with us.
Cheers.